We'll get started. Call this meeting of the Water and Sewer Authority of Cabarrus County to order. First item on the business is on the agenda is some unfinished business request for approval of the minutes from August 18th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion, a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will roll on to new business. And Wendy, you're going to talk to us about some policies we need to consider.
For you three policies, they're sort of, they're separate, but all related. The uniform guidance policy, so this policy is just for federal grants, and this is the last one that's required for us to approve for ARP money or the American Rescue Plan funds. And this policy I basically took from the school of government website, and we just have the one grant now, but we'll be prepared for any future federal grants. And also took this opportunity to include some of the uniform guidance in the new procurement policy. Did update that. The last official policy was passed in 2004. We're increasing our purchase order amount from $1,000 to $3,000 and up, getting everything in line with state statutes for informal bids. And we also have a purchase card policy, or a P card policy, as you may be more familiar with, to increase the use of the P card policy, or the P cards here, which is just a more efficient way for small purchases. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with those. Here with Cabarrus or Indianapolis, you may find some of these very familiar. So I borrowed heavily from there for the procurement policy and the purchase card policy. Glad to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for Wendy about any of these policies? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the procurement policy, procurement card policy, and uniform guidance policy.
So moved.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, let's see, we're moving into some reports. Chad.
Right. Chairman, members of the board, we come again this month with nothing but good news on our project. Weather has been pretty cooperative to us. And so I'm gonna run through a few pictures here and a little bit of what's going on, and then we'll talk at the end about a little bit of what we see over the next, say, 6-9 month horizon when we're talking about phase 3 and phase 4. So if you want to go. So Crowder continues to have multiple crews on site working, both on the replacement electrical project and the phase 3 plant expansion. The aeration basin excavation has been completed. Rebar placement and concrete pours within the new aeration basin have begun. We have another concrete pour scheduled tomorrow. I think it's around 400 yards being poured tomorrow. The excavation for the new equalization influent meter vault has been completed, and the bottom pad has been poured on it. And the team continues to work to mitigate potential issues with sourcing equipment as we move forward. I like this shot, kind of what it encapsulated here is on the left was the picture I showed you last month of the aeration basin. The picture on the right was this morning. So as you can see, Crowder is moving quickly to get concrete, rebar, and get this in place. Jeff and Derek came out today and kind of explained to them some a big push by Crowder has been to get this slab in and the vertical walls in before the weather turns south. Because there is a lot of mechanical, plumbing, piping work that needs to take place within this facility that can be done, and they can kind of manage poor weather to do that. So they're really pushing on this, and then they're going to turn and do the same thing on the equalization basin to get it in before weather turns south in the fall, in the wintertime. Next slide. This is a view from the other side. Actually, can you skip back? One thing I wanted to show here was kind of some of the size of this basin. On the right there, it kind of looks like they're about done with the slab. They about worked all the way across this excavation. If you go to the next picture, you can kind of see they're not even halfway across it. This is a big hole. This is a big tank going in. A lot of rebar. I remember Crowder talking all the time about rebar's going up another 30% per ton, or rebar's going up another. And I'm like, okay, yeah, rebar is rebar, but now I understand we've got quite a few tons going into our site, to say the least. So they'll continue working across that. They do this in like 200 to 400 yard pours. And I think there's 9 pours total to get the slab in. And they're looking to try to do 1 to 2 pours a week, is kind of their goal. To get this knocked out. I would not be surprised if we're not close to a complete base slab by the time we're back here next month. And they may have begun work on some vertical walls from what they're indicating to us. This is a picture of the metering vault. Kind of hard to tell how big this is, but well, you see the truck up there and kind of get an idea. I would say that's probably a 15 by 30, 15 foot by 30 foot slab, maybe 20 by 35, something like that. As with everything, it's deep, so you've got a big excavation to get down to be able to work down there. But this will be the spot where they meter flow that is coming off of the plant and going to the EQ basin. So you're kind of keeping track of how much is going into the process, how much you're bleeding back to an EQ basin, and managing the flow that way. This is an aerial we took, I believe this was on Wednesday, from the drone. You can kind of take a look. If you've been to the plant or not, we're kind of sitting right above the admin building, probably in the drone right here, kind of towards the entrance gate. So you can see there in the middle of the screen is the aeration basin excavation that's taking place there, and kind of an idea of the size of that excavation. To give you some idea, the round circular tanks you see, I believe those are 120 foot diameter. Yep. So just to kind of give you an idea, they're about 120 foot in diameter, the aeration or the clarifiers you're seeing. To the right, lower right is that metering vault we just looked at that's going in that location. And then in the bottom left, you see a pad and an excavator sitting there. That is the new maintenance canopy that is going in. The existing maintenance canopy is just above, there is right there. That's where the new blower building is going to go. So that maintenance canopy is being relocated over to that pad that you see that track hose sitting on in the lower left. But I like the aerial, kind of gave you a view of what's going on there right now, and kind of an idea of the size of what's going on. All right, next. All right, so for the next month, they're going to continue concrete rebar placement in the aeration basin, begin vertical wall pours for the aeration basin and meter vault. And continue to finalize some work on the electrical system. I say finalize, that doesn't mean they're about to finalize that project. We still have some equipment that we're out 40 weeks out on still. That'll be when they come and they have to set cabinets and equipment. But they're just really finishing their conduit installation, ductwork installation, and kind of finalizing some of that, the stub ups and everything. They're going to be demoing the existing maintenance canopy and beginning construction of the new maintenance canopy over that next month. All right, next slide. All right, before we jump into any questions on that, we did have a meeting and a call this morning with a team talking a little bit about phase 4, when we could start seeing some GMPs from phase 4, when we could start ordering some equipment, when we could expect kind of to start seeing the bigger GMP, and what is it going to cost to build phase 4 and everything. It looks like we may have a GMP package later this fall, probably winter time is more accurate, looking at the dewatering equipment, centrifuge, swing pump, switch gears that go with that, all of that kind of in a package to get that equipment purchased, to get that kind of that started. And then probably looking later in next summer to getting to their 60% design to where they're ready to start pulling together kind of that, whether it'll be 1 or 2 large GMPs to kind of execute this. So I would not be surprised for us to see an equipment package late this year, very early next year for that dewatering equipment. Maybe March, April, another equipment package when they start identifying some more electrical gear and lead time items. And then maybe like we did this last time, that final GMP that's going to deliver everything and tie everything together mid, maybe July, August, September of next year, just to kind of give you guys some ideas of how that's going to look. The thought still is that this work will overlap. So construction will not wait on phase 4 till phase 3 is done. This construction where it makes sense, manpower, space to work, and everything that can help our schedule, that this work will overlap. So with all of that, any questions?
As far as mitigating parts procurement, Chad, have you experienced anything that's thrown our schedule off as far as original delivery dates? Have they changed?
No, I mean, there's been some things that have concerned us. We still have the items where, Caterpillar says we're gonna get the generators. I think it was at like 60 weeks or something like that. And maybe we're 25 weeks into that. And the concern is that 60 actually 80? Is it truly 60? And we Crowder, I say we, but Crowder, the team stays in contact with them. And I think they feel pretty secure with their standing and where they're at there. But the biggest risk is any of this electrical gear, generator gear, people just not meeting their delivery dates. And our project's not unique to that concern. So obviously, what we've seen in the news last couple of days, the railroad potential strike, and any of those things that could happen that would be a major disruptor to the logistics chain is not a good thing for our project potentially. So, I mean, we really need to be hopeful that those type of impacts don't become severe, because it would affect us just like everyone else. So.
And some of the things they've also done is if there's material concern on their part, they're talking with the engineer, talking with us. Hey, are there any other options?
Yeah.
C900 pipe for water line, for example. What about HDPE? So there's already some approvals made for that. If we get into a bind, we got to do something different. So that's already happening as well.
Well, and like our original supplier for transformers and switch gears was saying, we can't do better. This is the best we can do. This best we can do. Well, I mean, all this industry, they all talk to each other. They all know what's going on. We went to other suppliers and started saying, well, what can you do? Can you beat this? Can we change some of this? Can we change manufacturers? And I think when that word got out that we're looking at other manufacturers, well, hold on, I think we can move this to another plant and get it in their production schedule, and we can lower our delivery times. Now, your risk is, are they going to meet those deadlines? But what we were finding when we talked to others, we were either looking at a lot more money for a very little change in delivery. There was no home runs to be found. Everybody's struggling to deliver on the electrical side right now. PLCs, switchgear, transformers, all of that stuff's a challenge right now.
Other questions for Chad?
Well, I would encourage anybody that would like to come out and see the site. I'd encourage, the weather's getting a lot nicer. We'd be happy to show you around. As Jeff came out today, it's hard to visualize how big of a hole that is. How much rebar is going into that hole and how much work's going on. So certainly if anybody, just reach out if you guys would like to go down for a quick tour. I mean, 30 minutes or an hour, you can see it. It's not like you got to dedicate a whole day to it. So you can see it pretty quick.
400 yards of concrete, a lot of concrete.
It's a lot of concrete. Yep, a lot of concrete. We're just getting started.
All right. Good job, Chad.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open it up for public comments. And no public here. I guess closed session is the next item. Do I have a motion to go into closed session under GS 143, 318, 11, A1, A3, and A6? So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are in closed.